And welcome back to Kapow. I'm Sonya.
And I'm Al, and we are here in King's Comics once again for a very special occasion.
That's right, it's been a long time coming, but finally, the sequel to the Avengers movie is here, Age of Ultron in all its glory.
So we're going to be clearing up a few details for you today. First of all, we'll be reviewing the comic event also called Age of Ultron.
We'll also be taking a look at some of the new characters appearing in Avengers Age of Ultron and their history in comics.
Ray will of course be with us to take a look at an awesome Iron Man collectible.
And last but most, we will be letting you know what we thought of the latest Marvel Studios extravaganza.
So warm up some popcorn, bung on your 3D glasses.
Yeah, but then take them off again because this is a YouTube channel and not in 3D.
Yes, but after you've done all of that, then we'll get started.
Yes.
Now go on, we'll wait. There's been some confusion lately, given the title of the new Avengers film, Age of Ultron, as to whether it's based on the Marvel Comics event of the same name, written by Brian Michael Bendis. Now, there's a short answer to that, and there's a long answer.
The short answer is no.
That's right, completely different storylines.
Yeah. But the long answer, it occurred to us, would be a review of the comic event. Age of Ultron is a 10-issue crossover written by Bendis, with art by Brian Hitch, Brandon Peterson, Carlos Pacheco, Butch Guice, Alex Maleev, David Marquez, and even a final issue submission by Joe Quesada.
So there's a lot of different art styles popping up throughout the event, but that works quite well considering the variety of timelines and alternate reality shenanigans going on. The story begins with Ultron having invaded the Earth already, and in the process of grinding it beneath his adamantium-encased heel.
All of Earth's heroes are in hiding, or else already dead, with the survivors desperately searching for a way to win back the Earth.
And as far as setups go, I was pretty ambivalent. I mean, you know, a war-scarred Manhattan while Ultron's metal goons patrol the skies above and Iron Man and the gang scuttle through the storm drains. I'm digging all of that, I am. But when there's this many dead good guys, you just know that a universe reset button is just around the corner.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the way these big events work.
I know, and maybe I just have event fatigue,
Yeah.
but as soon as time travel came into this storyline, I felt like this is water that Marvel has dipped its toes into quite a few times.
With an interesting moral twist, though, in the is it okay to go back in time to kill Hitler mold.
More like, is it okay to kill Hitler's dad? But yeah, I see your point. And there is an element of lasting effect, despite the inevitable resurrections.
Now, I'm a big fan of things getting a bit timey-wimey, as you know, and I think that works really well in this arc. Even more so when you consider how well the different artists bring the feel of different eras and realities. That really added to the experience for me.
I certainly can't argue with that, and Bendis is as tight as ever on dialogue. The many characters all ring true, and although it's a grim story, he still manages to inject some gallows humour that will raise a chuckle. End of the day, there's a lot of good stuff in there, but there's got to be another way of raising the stakes other than killing off a whole bunch of characters you know are going to spring back to life at the end. So I'm going to give this one a borrow.
Well, I really enjoyed it. For me, the stakes were more about what people are willing to do to save the Earth, and it showcased some of my favourite characters with some excellent artwork as well. It's a buy from me. I do have one niggle though. I mean, for a title named Age of Ultron, surprisingly little Ultron.
Well, you know how it is. You know, you take over the world. You don't really want to be doing a lot of the hands-on work yourself after that.
Delegate.
Yeah, you know, take a break, chill, back on your big adamantium throne.
Hey Ray.
Hey Sonya, hey guys.
So what Avengers goodies have you brought us?
Well, with Age of Ultron on everyone's mind this month, I thought I'd take a look at an Iron Man figure, but this one is a little different. It's the Iron Man 3 Hall of Armor series Mark 7 by a company called Dragon Models. They use 3D technology to craft hero vignettes in a 9th scale. They are pre-painted and ready to snap together in seconds for quick display. Additionally, the figures are set in a Marvel-suggested pose so that the body portions won't look deformed when the poses are changed.
Now, this isn't the Iron Man suit from Age of Ultron, is it?
No, but all those characters are going to be released very soon from Dragon, so I thought in the meantime I'd get a bit of a head start and take a look at some of the design aspects that you can expect when those figures are released.
Awesome, because this is the Mark 7, yeah?
Yes, it is, because the Mark 7 closely resembles the Mark 43 that features in the film.
Sweet, alright, let's break this one down.
Alright, so first of all, it has a great box and great packaging. I'd be happy to keep the figure like this if I was trying to create the Hall of Armor, but since I don't fancy every prototype of the Iron Man armor, I'd rather put it on display, just like the Mark 33 here.
I like that there's a small element of putting the character together.
Yeah, me too. In that sense, there's a kind of customization to putting that piece together or assembling it, the kinds of angles you can create, which is nice. The individual pieces are all well painted. There's only a couple of places where the paintwork bleeds over the edges, but unless you're looking up close, you won't notice, and neither will your friends.
Now, it's designed so it's easy to put together, but also that the joints aren't easily seen.
Right, the joints sit deep within each component so that they're masked. This adds to the striking aesthetic, and each piece is nice and clean. What I mean is that you can't see the cooling lines of each part that are caused from that molding process. In addition, there's extra parts that you can place over those joints to cover them further and add a flexibility to the look of the suit. I'm interested how Dragon are going to handle a character who has flesh exposed, like the Hulk, because it's often easier to hide these elements if your character is a mech or under cloth, for example. One of my favourite points about this particular figure is the Hall of Armor display case, which also lights up in 2 different phases. What I do want to point out though is that some of the joints can be unstable. And that's fine so long as you don't have the item within reach of small children or annoying friends who like to knock it over every time you go to lunch, claiming that it was caused from some earthquake that was isolated to your desk exclusively.
Sounds like you need to get some new friends, Ray.
Replace you and Al.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Let's move on, shall we?
Yeah.
Yes, all right.
Okay.
So what do you think about the figure overall, Sonya?
Well, the 9th scale would make a great addition to any desktop. And these kits are great for people who like to assemble things but don't necessarily have the patience or the talent to make one from scratch. So I'm going to give this one a borrow.
Right, well, aesthetically, I can't flaw the sculpt. Everything is in proportion and it shows the guys at Dragon know what they're doing. I like that it strikes a nice balance between an articulated action figure and a statue. But it feels a bit on the fence. I wanted to customize the movement a little bit beyond the degree that was available to me. I felt restricted by that. I think the concept is sound and the figure itself is well sculpted, but it just isn't enough to push me over the edge and make me want one. So I'm gonna give it a borrow.
Cool.
Yeah.
You know, for the record, it was Alistair who did it.
Oh.
Yeah, it was Al.
Yes, shall I ask him who did it?
No.
No.
But it was. I had nothing to do with it.
Al who created the earthquake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Al creates earthquakes.
Al creates earthquakes. It's a little known fact.
Right.
There are a few new faces popping up in the Avengers Age of Ultron movie, and I'm sure there will be plenty of people out there who get interested in those characters and want to learn a little bit more.
Likewise, there will be plenty of other people who just want to be able to school fellow cinema goers and start sentences with phrases like, you know, in the comics, that's completely different.
Yeah, irritating people.
Yeah.
People like you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And either way, we've got you covered with our Avengers 2 Who's Who. Which, now that I say it out loud, sounds like a Dr. Seuss book.
The first 2 fresh faces in Avengers 2 have actually appeared in the Marvel movies before, showing up in the mid-credits scene from Captain America: The Winter Soldier, as subjects of Hydra's human enhancement experiments.
And yes, you've guessed it, in the comics, that's completely different.
And because in the comics, the twins, aka Pietro and Wanda Maximoff, aka Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, are actually mutants.
Indeed. They first appeared in X-Men number 4 as members of Magneto's Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, although it wasn't long before they jumped the fence to become fully accredited members of the Avengers.
However, since 20th Century Fox owns the rights to all the mutants, and Marvel Studios owns the rights to all the Avengers, a new backstory was in order, plus a little bit of tweaking to their power set. In the comics, Quicksilver is a pretty standard speedster, running across water or up the sides of buildings with the greatest of ease. The Scarlet Witch, on the other hand, is a horse of a completely different colour.
Yeah, it's a colour that appears on the spectrum somewhere between red and vermilion. Because it's slightly more orange than red and scarlet.
No, I get it.
Anyway. Wanda's powers are an eclectic mix of probability changing, or hexing, reality warping, and chaos magic, which makes her one of the most powerful characters ever to answer the call to assemble.
And those powers have more than once thrown the world into disarray, whether they were used to create a reality where mutants ruled the world, or, on the other end of the spectrum, to depower 90% of the mutants in the world, making them all but extinct.
It makes sense then that no ordinary man could win Wanda's heart, and her great love was a fellow Avenger who also began his career as a villain, and also makes an appearance in Avengers Age of Ultron.
The Vision is a synthetic man, an android who has the power to fly, to manipulate his own density, which allows him to phase through solid matter, and the ability to control technology.
He's an enigmatic character, manufactured out of a combination of the android body of the original Human Torch and the brain patterns of deceased hero Wonder Man. And although he's saved the world many times, there have always been Avenger teammates who have distrusted him.
Possibly because of the number of times he's been reprogrammed and turned against them, or possibly just because the person who created him was none other than Ultron, the big guy himself.
Now, Ultron is another case of different in the comics, because in Avengers Age of Ultron he comes about as an extension of Tony Stark's Iron Legion project, whereas in the comics he's the brainchild of a different Avenger entirely.
First appearing in 1968, Ultron's first assault on the Earth's mightiest heroes was made by hypnotising Tony's butler Jarvis so that he would allow the Masters of Evil into the Avengers mansion. Later on, it's revealed that Ultron was created by Hank Pym, but Hank didn't realise this because Ultron hypnotised him as well and made him forget all about it.
Hank Pym, aka Ant-Man, aka Giant Man, aka Goliath, aka Yellow Jacket, based Ultron's mind on his own brain patterns. Which may have been his biggest mistake. Come on, the guy can't even decide on a superhero name. And sure enough, his creation goes on to develop a massive Oedipal complex and decide to murder Daddy.
Now, Ultron has been defeated many times and has risen again and again, redesigned and upgraded with a whole new power set. We've mentioned hypnotism, but he can also fly, project energy blasts, and command legions of robot followers. He is also extremely durable, as his outer shell is made completely of adamantium.
And although every superhero and his robot dog these days seems to have access to this apparently rare and nearly indestructible metal, Ultron was actually the first character to use it.
Yeah, but it's not just Ultron's durability that makes him hard to defeat. His ability to transfer from body to body, and his habit of leaving instructions in each one of his minions on how to reconstruct him, means that you can never be certain that he's truly gone. Which is bad for the Avengers, but great for writers who just want to bring back a scary bad guy.
Good point. So those are just a few little tidbits about some of the characters that you'll be seeing popping up in Avengers Age of Ultron.
Yeah, we hope we've inspired you to delve into some back issues of the Avengers and learn more.
And we hope that you'll be whispering spoilers into your friends' ears during the movie.
No, don't listen to him. We don't want that. No.
In the comics? No. In the comics? No.
No.
Because he's got two heads.
Don't do that. Don't.
Alright guys, finally the moment is here. We are here to see the Avengers Age of Ultron. This is the Australian premiere. Very excited. Sonya, what are you expecting? A few words?
Oh, look, I think it's going to be pretty cool. I've been looking forward to this for so long. I'm just really keen to see what they do with the Scarlet Witch.
Okay, Al?
Absolutely, look, I'm very excited as well. I really don't know what to expect, but I have faith in Joss.
I just want action. And I think I'm going to get that. Yeah, alright, let's go.
Nothing but our wit and our will save the world. So stand and fight.
No way we all get through this. I got no plans tomorrow night.
I'm always picking up after you boys.
All right, we just got out of the screening and we're going to jump right into it.
Yes.
Sonya, tell us what you think.
I actually really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. I've been looking forward to Ultron for a while now, and I must admit, I'm very satisfied. My biggest thing was how they were going to deal with Wanda and her powers, because technically, she's magic.
Yeah.
So, but I was really happy with what they did. I love the special effects that they used to kind of signify her magic, and there was a lot of nods to kind of, once she's in her own, how powerful she actually is, which I was really happy with. Yeah. I did have, I think I got a little bit fatigued about 3/4 of the way through, because I know the type of film it is, I understand the structure of it, but it does get a little wearing when you go big fight, bit of exposition, big fight, bit of a conversation, big fight. Like, after a while, it's like, let's mix it up, let's get a little bit of a different kind of story structure happening, but still, and it's a weird thing to pick on, but the score in this is amazing. And I know it's Danny Elfman, so of course it's going to be amazing, but I actually I thought it really helped to kind of pull the emotional kind of storyline through. You really did start to go in with them when the music started to well up and stuff.
Yeah, no, I didn't think it was too overwhelming, which was nice to see. I'm used to seeing a lot of sort of superhero films now with this massive score telling you this is how you should feel, you know, and I thought that was quite subtle, for the most part.
Yeah, so. Overall, I'm really, really happy with this. I love how they dealt with the new characters, because it's always a bit kind of, especially ones that you like. So I'm really happy,
Great, awesome. Al?
Okay, well, yeah, look, I really enjoyed it as well. There's some amazing action in there. Though, I mean, I had a couple of little slight niggles. As the writing overall is very good, but there were a few clangers in terms of the humour. I mean, you're never going to hit 100% of the time, but there were a couple in there that you're like, that's a bit more cliche than I would expect Joss Whedon to do, when someone's like, is that the best you can do? And then in comes the army, he's like, you had to ask. Yeah. That's a bit too cliche for me. That said, there were a lot of laugh out loud moments that you would expect from Whedon, some irreverent sort of stuff, which really worked. What I was interested going into this, I was interested to see how the different Quicksilver would work. Having seen Days of Future Past. Yeah,
it's a big question.
Yeah, you know, it's very close together really in terms of when these have come out. So I wanted to see how the powers would be represented, how the character would be represented, and I've got to say, as far as how his super speed was shown, I actually preferred Days of Future Past for that. Okay. There's some fantastic scenes of him using his power, and that actually worked better in Days of Future Past. Not that it was bad here, but there has to be a second place. In terms of characterization, worked better in this one. Yeah. You know, you really got Pietro and the edge that he had. Yeah. He was a really kind of abrasive kind of guy, which kind of worked in this. Yeah. So I did enjoy that a lot. The relationship between him and his sister also really worked.
It's really good. Yeah. You really did feel like these twins were so intrinsically linked to each other. It was really, really great. And also, his relationship with Hawkeye was great. It was nice to see Hawkeye actually have a character and have a voice, and you get to see that funny Barton.
Yeah, I thought so too. I really enjoyed that Hawkeye line, and just seeing more of his character and exactly the relationship between him and others, and that kind of fostering father kind of type, because sometimes you look at the Avengers and you're like, so what? You can fire a few arrows and these guys are all got super uber duper powers, but you know, there's something else to him. There is something powerful still within him, and it's
And in Avengers 1, he unfortunately got relegated to basically being, you know, Loki's butt monkey the entire movie, more or less. So that was a good thing that they gave him more to do. Yeah. But look, the best thing about this is the action. I've got to say, the action scenes are pretty spectacular. I mean, we've seen some cool Cap throwing the shield around and stuff in Winter Soldier, but in this, it's taken to another level. You've got the whole team just getting stuck in, and it's pretty spectacular visually. So if you want some cool action, this delivers it in spades.
Yeah, I think they picked up on that from Days of Future Past. All the mutants using each other, and similarly in this Avengers, they're using each other's powers to advantage when they're down and out, and that really works. There's a whole new dynamic in play, because you know, how many times can you see Cap throw his shield, but you know, if he's throwing it and someone else is kicking it back to him, and you know, it's rebounding, and then
you've got Thor hitting the shield to cause a shockwave, and then, you know, throwing somebody up in the air and then swinging them around. They're working together. They clearly know how to fight using each other as a team, and that's why you love these team ups. That's why we love Justice League. That's why we love the Avengers, because they work together to become so much more.
That's right,
and that's seen in this, definitely.
Yeah, and look, story wise, it's pretty good. Look, I was going in thinking it was going to fall flat. I was secretly hoping for, you know, something to be awesome, but you know, I was anticipating it to fall flat, but it didn't. I had a lot of fun. There is bucket load of action, as you said, and the performances by all the actors pretty solid.
Yeah.
You know, there's some very touching moments in there, and when we are allowed to pull back from just the constant, you know, action, you can see a storyline, you know, evolving, or them trying to touch on other things other than
there was a heart to it as well.
Yeah.
I think there were the personalities, the relationships were being developed, which you've got to do in a series like this.
Yeah. So would you say this is a worthy sequel to follow up with? I would say yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's progressed the Avengers beyond what we kind of know them from the first film. I think anyone who was a fan of that is going to like this and is going to like the way that it's moving forward.
Yeah. Al?
I tend to agree. Is it everything I'd hoped? No. In all honesty, there are a couple of things I would have liked to see done better. But overall, yeah, it's massively enjoyable.
Yeah.
It just didn't, you know, blow my hair back the way the first one did. I think I was just expecting too much. This is still a very solid addition to the Marvel Universe.
Now, there is one question left, and that is, the film sort of hints at taking us in another direction. So do you think that Marvel fans are going to be happy with this direction moving forward with the Avengers?
I think some people are going to be disappointed just because this whole kind of thing of trying to talk about it and not giving anything away.
Don't give it away.
I just think that some people are going to be disappointed just because of what is going to happen,
And what they expect. Yeah.
But I actually think it's going to be really good for the Avengers movie franchise.
Yeah.
You can't keep doing the same film. You have to progress. You have to evolve. So you just need to keep moving on. And I think it's going in the right direction.
Yep. Okay. Al?
Yeah, look, I think it's not necessarily, you can't say whether it's going to work, but you can say that it needs to happen.
Yeah.
There needs to be a change. And I mean, we've had these two films, they've gone more or less, you know, it's, again, we don't want to say too much, but I will say there needs to be, as you say, there needs to be an evolution, there needs to be a development and a moving on in terms of where this franchise is going.
Yeah.
And so they're doing that. They're not shying away from it. They're making that decision that needs to be made.
Yeah, I think so too, because there's only so many parts of the sort of exposition and storylines of each individual characters you can tell, and by, you know, moving it forward, then you know, you're going to allow other storylines to develop, free up areas, and
develop the whole world. Because the thing is, the Marvel universe, it's a vast universe, so they need to tell as many stories. They can't keep going on the same stuff. They've got to move in new directions, and will that work, will it not? We can't say, but it needs to be done.
Awesome. All right, so that's what we thought of the Avengers Age of Ultron. Let us know what you thought on our social, you know, pages, the Facebooks, the YouTubes, everywhere you know how to get hold of us. We'd love to hear your thoughts and, what you thought of the film. Okay, well, look who I bumped into. Some more Kapow Ians here at the Avengers Age of Ultron premiere. What did you think of the film?
Oh my God. Does that sum it up? Just... Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Terrifyingly structured and chaotic.
Okay.
Yeah. Joss Whedon has done it again. It's incredible. I absolutely love the way that they sort of played with some more familiar characters and made a twist on them that really worked well with the movie itself.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, explained the verse within which they're creating and destroyed it at the same time.
All right. And what do you think about the new direction, without giving anything away, that they're sort of hinting at you know, with the film?
Look, they've been hinting at it for a very long time in each one of the Marvelverse movies that have been coming out. But just there's one point in the movie, without giving too much away, where I think everyone who has any knowledge of the Marvel Universe will go...
Oh.
And certainly everyone in our theatre was going, oh my God! Ah!
Yeah, the tiny little end credit scene, Beck and I screamed at the same time, so stick around for that. It's not a Marvel movie until you watch the end credit scene, so yeah,
awesome.
don't leave.
Do you think that this is a great follow-up to the first Avengers? So is this a worthy sequel?
I think so. There were points where you're like, where is this going? Like, my mind is being blown right now, but then Joss brought it all together at the end, and it was it was incredible. And now I can't wait for the third one. How many years do I have to wait?
Yeah, I know. Two.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see how it all meshes with more of the Marvel movie universe, though, because they're definitely bringing it all closer together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Awesome. Lovely. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well, that's all we've got time for, guys. If you've been to see the new Avengers film, we'd love to hear what you think. Let us know in comments, Facebook or Twitter.
Yes, and don't forget there are a lot of other awesome films coming along soon. We've got Ant-Man, we've got Mad Max, we've got the new Batman vs Superman trailer just come out, new Star Wars trailer came out. It's all very exciting. Tell us what you think is going to be the next big thing.
And we will be back with more comics, cartoons and collectibles real soon. But until then, guys, bye!